This home light I picked up years and years ago off the side of the road for free and brought it home, and this was the first engine that I ever owned personally. I ever tinkered with. This screwdriver took it apart the first time and the last time it was apart. It does all the work on these, it's just perfect. But for a long time this didn't have spark. New coil, spark plug that didn't fit the McCulloch has been robbed and put onto this. So this is a new coil and plug now, and it has spark. I have it sparking now. Blah blah blah. Now I was out here, it was about 3:30 in the morning. I was drinking a cup of Joe, couldn't get to sleep. And I was looking at this engine and I went, you know, last time I ripped that fucker down, I didn't have a set of gappers. So that thing was never gapped properly. Might as well try it. And so I gapped it. And then I realized that this live wire that's sitting at the end here from the ignition coil, which I still don't know where it's actually supposed to go at this point on this engine, this was grounded. And I was looking at it and I was like, no, that's how you'd kill spark. That shouldn't. So I unground it, magically it has spark. Whoop-de-doo. It was probably because I gapped it. That's my position, I'm holding to it. But that, complete with all new fuel lines, filter, fuel tank, has a new gasket back here, I believe, as well. Come think of it. I ordered a list of parts when I ordered the coil for this thing, attempting to get it to spark, because originally it had a bad coil. And so I'd ordered some parts for it, and they came and I put it together and it said on a spark, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to bring it further, so I gave up on it and resolved to come back to it when I knew more, like I did with, I don't think you can see it, but the Briggs is just off to my left. Just like I did with that, you know, I let it sit until I knew what I was doing. So this has, you know, all new lines and stuff. It's good. The McCulloch does too. Don't remind me about it. But yeah, you know, this should be a decent little unit. The one thing it was missing was a primer bulb. I had bought primer bulbs back in the day. Why this machine never got one, couldn't fucking tell you. I have no idea. I know about primer bulbs, matter of fact. Oh shit, never mind. Well, I know about primer bulbs because only one of them is left. I was not fortunate enough to have the one be left, be the one that was for this machine that never got stuck on it. These have just had their third coat of primer applied. It's going to be our last coat. There's just some touch-up spots where the primer wasn't quite thick enough. Fully cover up the black, then we have the back side of those to do. This was just a little bit wet. After its first coat, it stayed a little wet for a little longer, so I left it to dry. It didn't get a second coat when everything else did. This cover is starting to look pretty nice on the inside. It's got all the paint in all the right spots. That black is looking good. Now we're just doing the outside of it. And yeah, these parts are going to be looking pretty slick, guys. This is going to be a nice unit. Watch. Just you watch and just you trust, because I'm the greatest technician that ever lived, okay? I'm gonna make this son of a bitch nice. So right now what I'm in the process of doing with this very, very clean razor blade is removing this sticker here that shows you how to operate the carburetor, because this thing looks horrible. I can't paint over it, and otherwise it'll look like shit. And if I manage to take this plastic off and clear coat it and whatever, it's gonna look terrible. So I made the electoral decision and just decided to cut it off. So I just got some fantastic the recording had stopped. Now, sure, it'll look nice, but you might think, well, why a home light weed eater? And, well, my answer to that is, why not? Because it's a cheap piece of shit? I don't think that's a good reason. So is the McCulloch, and I don't feel like picking up another one. And I've already put money into parts for this one. Win-win. We're gonna make this thing nice, alright? Alright, so I'm not entirely sure when we last left off. I think when we did, these had not been set here yet. These have been fully coated in primer now. And I have white spray paint. With the addition of white spray paint, I've also got this hopefully masked off good enough for me to hit it with some white spray paint. So guys, that went perfectly to plan. I'm sure all the areas that I masked don't have paint under them, and you know, I was just so on target and didn't miss at all. So I'm pretty happy with that job. I think it'll come out just perfect. Now in all reality, I'm not that worried about that spot of white. That obviously ended up right there. I clearly missed a bit. Hey, what do? I don't think it'll be a problem. I could probably sand it off if I wanted to. But, I don't think it will impact the color that much. I just don't see it being a big problem for us. So, I'm gonna leave it. I put it on pretty heavy, as you can tell as well. That is in a little recess. It's gonna be masked off with just the letters in masking tape spelling out GOAT. GOAT, that's what I'm naming it, as I said. And that's it. The rest of it's getting painted green. The rest of that recess is getting painted green. I think it'll look just fine. Yeah. So up next, these gotta get painted. I just wanted to show you all that because I was a little disappointed that I missed, but this needs to get clear coated. We actually need to take these masks off here, then we can get that ready for clear coat. I'm probably just gonna wait until we have this, do all the black pieces at the same time. Clearly, we missed more. I've taken a second coat of white paint onto this, and I'm not particularly happy with how much white there is now. I think this is a little bit too heavy. I think it could have had a mute gradient effect had it been intentional and continued, but as it is, it would just be a very abrupt transition. It wouldn't look very good. It'd be maybe a nice kind of gradient on this piece, but like this isn't, you know, it was an accident. It's not a gradient. That's pretty well. That's one of the corners of our trim light stickers. That's the other corner. Trapezoidal, there's the other two. It's got a little bit of overspray, but that is not me, that's the molding, which is what I followed, knowing I would have overspray, because the sticker from Homelight didn't actually properly fit in there. Now you can see what I mean about the abrupt ending. Obviously non-usable. But this looks just fine. So the next job, next task for this is sanding. Next go here is this engine shroud, and this and the other black pieces all came out real nice looking. They all cleaned up pretty well. They all painted up pretty well. It's hard to fuck up black, and these look brand new. They're nice. So we're gonna get to taking these masks off. And this one is why I had the razor blade. So there's two stickers masked off on this. This one is the first one. This one just says Homelight. The other one, which is the more important one to me, has a lot of identifying numbers for the engine. And, you know, I don't think I ever took any pictures of them. I'm guessing I zoomed in on them on video, but I don't know. I'm not too sure when I had you guys in here last, but since then we've gotten a coat of primer on this side of the cover, not the inside yet. But you can see the name in there masked off too. And just last night, cleaned off this exhaust and realized that it's supposed to have a gasket. So, we got this cleaned up exhaust piece here, and isn't it looking spiffy? These pieces are shinier than the actual exhaust, but that's because I hit them with a power tool. Thank God for power tools. We also have the McCulloch's old air cleaner. We're gonna have to get a new one. I somehow lost the new one that I'd cut up for the Homelight. Over here, we have a new table in place, which I'm fairly certain that I actually talked about this table, come to think of it. But we have pieces on it. We have these two. They're painted front and back. And this has had its final coat of primer. I'm not actually sure if it's dry yet. I'm not going to touch it until morning. It's pretty cold. It's like 35 degrees. So we're just going to leave it. And yeah, shop is looking good. I kind of spent this whole weekend not doing too much in terms of the Homelight project. But tonight I did get some good work done. And, you know, just today and yesterday in general, I did a lot of cleanup. I did a lot of clearing of my bay and cleaning it up and just getting it more ready to be used as a shop more often, which is exactly what I needed. And yeah, it feels good. So, I'm not sure the last time I recorded anything, but everything is clean at this point. Coil is gapped. As you can see there, we're not making contact or getting close. We are making no contact. So, what I'm about to do, put this back plate back on the motor. Now that's all clean. Gasket back installed, fuel tank, and these little feet here, there were 4 of these for the McCulloch's fuel tank, so I took those and cut them up a little bit and got them ready for this. I think they'll work just fine. So let me go ahead and get it hooked to the machine and prove that it'll work just fine. How about that? And on it is with the big old McCulloch circular feet in there. So yeah, the exhaust here, and get this set on up. Yeah, I didn't nail that one. I nailed the first one, but not that second one. Exhaust looks pretty dang good. Well, actually the main exhaust doesn't look all that good because I never hit it with a wire wheel again because I don't care. That was why. And that's not too. So we also have here carburetor. This would be a lot easier with the second hand. Okay. So we got our carburetor held down, fuel lines hooked up, return line, and our main fuel line. No more primer bulb. I just knocked it off. I'll get that seated back down. It won't be that hard. That is pretty much most of the engine built back up, honestly. Put this diaphragm. Anyway, another facet of this project I haven't even talked about. It's right here. And you can see some Sharpie lines and a cut, and there's no shaft down in there. You can see the start of this filing mark. Well, this was originally a curved shaft, but I didn't think that looked too nice to use, so I decided I'd modify the McCulloch straight shaft to work with this engine, which didn't have a clutch. No more primer bulb. The McCulloch had a clutch. This never had a clutch. I don't think it'll be an issue. But I had to cut back part of that metal there with a hacksaw. And I have to file down that keyway. There's a plastic keyway down in the cover that I can't show you because it's half painted green, and that slots into it, so it needs to be brought out. And then I should be able to clean the shaft because it's covered in dirt now. Clean the shaft. I dropped it on the ground. Clean the shaft and then re-grease the hole that it came out of and put it back together, and it should be a fine shaft, hopefully. I might have to get into the head, which would suck. And if that's the case, I'd probably just end up throwing the curve shaft on it, but put my new mounts on it. There's drive shaft, by the way. Put my new grab and such on it. But yeah, you know, stuff's happening. We're getting ready to fire this up relatively soon, hopefully. Kind of now just waiting for paint. You can't really test it until we have paint done and such, so yeah. Alright, so these are pretty exciting times here. I believe the last time that I actually had the camera rolling was when I had finished up the engine and I had finished rebuilding it. And I wouldn't have shown off any of the painting at that time because the only thing that was being worked on was the front cover, because everything else was done. For example, this was done. This is the clamp for our reused hold that came from the miserable McCulloch. I cleaned that up, wire wheeled it and its hardware, and gave it a quick spray of black paint. Doesn't it look just great? I think it does. It looks fine by me. It used to have spots of rust. Now it doesn't. Perfect. I'd have run it as straight metal, but I didn't. Next in our lineup, we have a pull cord, also stolen from the McCulloch, now in a brilliant ivory white. Utterly stunning it is. Not, but, you know, it works. Looks good from most angles. Now, for a color you have yet to see, my audience. The green that will make up the bulk of this machine. Yes, it is a kind of dark foresty green. I don't know, it's kind of an odd green, but I had it on hand, and well, there's not another home light like it. And the white throttle cable is in here. Throttle trigger is here, just as a piece of eye candy, and to give you a shot at what that green contrasted on that white, and what I had in my mind when I chose that, because that was one of the parts that I thought of. And here, of course, is the front cover. You guys have not seen this since it was in primer. It is fully covered in green paint. It's kind of hard to get a light angle here, but I am trying. I guess I could probably turn on flash on my phone, but the camera phone, you know, shut up, gobble. You can see here our GOAT logo, and right here another mask. That is where we are going to shift our focus. There's a little bit of red right there, but all things considered, it's not too bad. I think I can live with that. Just turn it over and get the one from in here. This one's sloppier. Those way back corners back in there, they don't look too good. But I'm not too worried. You're not gonna see them. So our next thing to do is the important ones. The goat mask needs to come off, and we need to see how the white underneath has been preserved, because I want that clear coated along with the green. The G and the T have minor amounts of paint missing in various locations. But, kind of looks like goat from a little way out. And, without the camera focused on it a little. Oh, I like it. I like it. Doesn't that look good, guys? So, guys, it is looking absolutely fantastic. It definitely looks a little bit brighter on camera just because of the flash than it is in real life. Looks a bit bluish, actually, on the camera. And, like, it kind of is. It's a very light blue kind of hue that it has going on, but especially with the phone camera on it, you can see it's a very bluish green. But yeah, it's done, cleared. You can see there's some red plastic there, and there's some red plastic down in there, and it's not quite perfect. You guys can just about see that overspray texturing right there. A little bit of overspray clear coat in a couple of places. No real paint overspray. Except down in here, we had that little bit, I think I showed y'all, where it kind of textured up like that. But yeah, it's just a little bit. I did go a bit heavy with the clear coat. In some places, I was not too bad with it in the front. I think the front got 3 coats, and the back is fully covered in clear coat, but I think I only coated it once. But it's definitely covered in clear coat. I've looked it over, and I gave it quite the damn job at clear coat, I guess. I wasn't looking to come out here and do a second one, I guess. And I'm not gonna do a second one. But this is my last day here for about a week. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday, and I am going to Vermont, and I'm staying there for a week with family. So I won't be able to work on the goat, but I will when I get home. Obviously, she's going to be going in for reassembly. We'll just get this set on up here. Make sure we don't get that set on anything that might scratch it up. Yep, obviously the engine is just chilling. I haven't thrown any fuel down its throat to see if this fuel bulb is right. I believe I got the diaphragm in the right spot. but I don't actually remember, and so I have to check by putting fuel in it and finding out if the diaphragm moves fuel. If it doesn't, then I have to pull this out and flip them, and if that doesn't work, then we got bigger problems that I don't know how to fix outside of replace the carburetor. Because, I mean, I know I have the meter and diaphragm right, basically. And, well, it's kind of hard to install this wrong. And so if both orientations of the diaphragm work, that sounds to me like there's bigger problems with the carb. So, I haven't been on this channel in roughly 173 days. As of recording this, it is Sunday, February 18th. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't done anything. Yes. Last video I posted, I tore down a Briggs & Stratton single-cylinder engine. It's 148cc, and I looked inside it and ordered some parts to fix it up and get it running. I ended that video saying that I was pretty confident I could get it running, and that I would come back with footage of me fixing it. Well, I got parts, I installed parts, I rebuilt the engine 3 times, and the engine does run. But it has power surges. So, what I think I did was clock the cam wrong. I think it's choking it out. I think I need to retard it a tooth. But the thing is, normally how you would put a cam in is you'd line up the mark on the camshaft gear and the crankshaft gear. And I know that, and I've known that since I first tore that engine down. So, why was I struggling with the timing? Because I couldn't find the mark. Now, I lost all the footage of me actually working on the engine. So I can't even go back and look at the footage of when I was in the engine and actually had the camera in there. So either I'm retarded, and being in that engine roughly 5 times, I've missed both of the marks on the cam and crankshaft every single time looking for them, or Briggs & Stratton didn't put them on. And just both of those scenarios are so retarded that I genuinely don't know which one is more likely. I would assume it's my fault, because not putting a mark on there is as retarded as missing it 5 times. But at the same time, I looked for the mark, guys. I swear to God, I tried. Multiple times. But it does run. Excuse me. And it runs on its own gas, on its own diaphragm. It's just fine. It's just that I need to drain all the oil out of it and completely rebuild it again and hope I don't break the bottom end gasket for the 3rd time. Oh yeah, I broke the head gasket on. Brand new fucking head gasket, put it on, torqued it down, and then I needed to take it off to reclock the cam. So that's why I'm hoping it's a tooth off, because I'm not doing that again. I already tore the head gasket in parts once. But it does seem to seal. It still makes compression. I don't think that's why it's having problems. There isn't smoke coming out of the head or anything like that. So I don't think it's a problem. I think it still works. Just pay the stupid tax on it. You know?
because I was preparing to make this video where I work on the McCulloch, the miserable McCulloch. I don't know if I showed it off in the video. I think I did, but I would have said that I was waiting until around springtime to fix it. We've had a pretty short and mild winter this year, so I've decided to fix it in February. I've taken my February break to do that. But I kind of had to start the video by explaining why there's no part 2 to my first engine rebuild. The first engine that I rebuilt, technically, on my own, and that was going to be on YouTube, all the footage is gone. I don't know why. I obviously have footage of it running. I've put it in this video, but I only have about 20-25 minutes of footage, and of that footage there's about 18 minutes of me fucking around pulling the starter, pulling the pull cord and yapping, and about 4 minutes of it running, and probably a good 3 minutes of me sitting there going, oh, I fucked up. So it's not video. Basically. The footage that's in this video is probably going to be all of the good footage. But, oh well.